Ladies and gents, welcome. Oh my goodness. Of course, we're catching up to live time on Border Dispute. This is like a really awkward map to start off a series, I imagine. Basically, what you just missed, if you missed it, there's 4 boars in the middle here, and both players ended up getting 2 boars. We've got Viper in the yellow. Viper's playing as the Chinese. The Chinese start with additional villagers, but this is a 9-villager start tournament, which is why we're looking at such high populations right now. And then Villese is here in the blue, so he's behind in villagers, and he's got an interesting little idea here. And he's actually going to go for a very early dock to fish the middle. What an interesting start. I'm curious on if this has been done before. Maybe one of my viewers could tell me. But essentially, because Lithuanians start with extra food, and then you obviously have all the food from the boars, he's actually just chopping the straggler trees. Villese lost a villager to a boar there. You can kind of see her... whatever piece of clothing that is. You could see a part of her underneath the boar there. So that is unfortunate for him, and that actually sets him back another worker here. But that's what happens when you are running to the middle so early and things get so hectic and crazy here. Other aspects of the map, you eventually, like, you have a lot of reason to push forward, obviously. But there's also incentive to expand backwards. So I've seen games where players will expand back here. What makes it difficult, though, is it's not an easy map to drop town centers in the long term. Viper runs directly into his opponent's TC, which is very weird because you should know exactly where the players are. But anyways, it happened. And just to complete my thought here, adding town centers is not so easy because of the elevation. It can be done, but it makes it more awkward than a normal game. Viper coming through. He's got the scout. He's got the villagers. And I've got the boxing gloves on. And Viper knows the TC is there now, and he just wants to deny these resources here from Villese. Something that I'd said before is, before we hopped in here, is Villese actually has a really good record against the Viper. Wasn't able to pull up Liquipedia and see the exact details there. Yeah, a little interesting, right? Early dock, but then needed the wood for the lumber camp. Hasn't added any fishing ships. Was able to take a bit of food from the shorefish, but we'll see if there will be many fishing ships here. It feels like the wood at this point is going to be put into production buildings. So we'll probably see like stable archer range. One of those two be an option for Villese. Viper's clicked up later, but again, he's Chinese. And guys, something to bring up here in Chinese as a whole is that every other tournament I've ever heard of that's done 9 villager starts in Age of Empires 2 has nerfed the Chinese, meaning they give Chinese the additional villagers, but they actually give them less food. I think it's like minus 300 food instead of minus 200, which is the typical Chinese bonus. This tournament has not done that with Chinese. A lot of players have been vocal about that, like why? Chinese are going to be too strong then. That's what players have been feeling. I don't know what Chinese win rate has really looked like, but I did a practice series or 2 with some players, and I felt like Chinese are insane. So Viper wants to start off with a win. God, this boxing glove mod is so good. And we'll see what happens. We're going to dock here from Viper. Also has the racks, though. Or barracks. I don't know if I should abbreviate. People are like going to be new here. They're like, what's a racks? Dropping his archer range here. Viper scouting will be interesting. Doesn't see this. Remember, his scout was weak from before. Don't you always want to start off with a win? Yeah, obviously, Mr. Obvious, okay? So what I meant by that was, if it needs to be explained, I'll happily explain it. All right, I'm a very patient man. Is you have a civ draft where you have high priority on some civs and low priority on others. Chinese, I haven't seen the draft. I imagine is one of Viper's early picks. So, yes, obviously he would like to always win. But this is a sign that he wants to start the series off in giving himself a higher chance at success. We do not have a demo on the way here. From either player. It's a fire galley here from Viper. And it is just going to be skirms and spearmen from Villese. And honestly, Lithuanians have very fast skirms, very fast spears. Could put Viper under some pressure here. But, it's not like any devastating pressure towards the Viper at the moment. But it's just such an awkward map to play. The thing about Chinese, too, is you normally want clean feudal ages where you have a bit more time to stabilize your eco. You don't really have that here. So it'll be interesting to see, as Viper actually lost his scout over here, it'll be interesting to see how many farms Viper's able to get up and whatnot. We do not have a fire galley on the way for Villese. But yeah, welcome in everyone. Hope you're enjoying this. This will likely be on my extras channel later on YouTube, so Hope people enjoy it there. Second day back streaming on Twitch. Good to be back. Feeling good. Had a nice little morning and been getting prepped for this all day. And the welcome has been amazing, man. And even for people who haven't shown up to the streams, people have been so nice to me recently. So I will try and repay you with quality commentary, all right? Keyword try, obviously. Skirms, spears, moving forward. But, you know, you're both making skirms, you're both making spears. Lithuanians have the faster skirms and spears. So a trash war should be easier for the Lithuanian player. But you can tell, like, Viper's really struggling for eco balance at the moment. Like, you normally would want to have a few more farms here. And Villese, focusing on the micro, has done an amazing job. Had he not lost a villager to the boar, it would be better. Viper has killed as many units from Villese as the boar did. That's a fun little detail there. And skirms, spears attacking, scouts attacking, eco still looking pretty good for Villese back at home. And I prefer Villese's position here. Is Villese Viper's kryptonite? I will have to pull up Wikipedia after this. Maybe we'll have a minute or two to be able to look at it. But even this, denying the berries when Viper doesn't have as many farms, these are all things that could affect the next follow-up play. So the next follow-up play could be something like scouts, which would feel realistic because Viper's on skirms. If not that, you could end up going for just a faster castle age. Actually, resources collected should be pretty telling. And the Chinese have more? We'll keep an eye on this and see if Viper still has more. He hasn't lost any villagers yet, which is key. He has had these villagers here on the food as well. And there's a fire galley finally from Villese. It's notable, though, he's actually mining gold from a mining camp. So Viper's been doing this walk back and forth thing. But man, what a fun game, right? Like, just as it looks like Villese is going to come back on water and have more realistic opportunities there, Viper now is going to defend himself on land. What a fun game. Bit of a weird one, right, to break down, but really good stuff from Viper. And this is now the downside of trash, because skirms and spears just tickle the opponent. They don't really kill that quickly. But yeah, the idle TC time for Viper is just a sign of having the Chinese and being so close next to all this pressure. Very well played. So, Villese, this is funny. It's like both players wanted to make use of the shorefish. And Villese just got one villager there. A couple more skirms are added. There might have been a period there for Villese where he was focusing a bit more on his farm addition. And you know, maybe he stayed at Viper's base a little bit too long. I think you could make that argument. If you take a bad fight and you have the faster units, either your micro was worse, or maybe you just put yourself in a situation where maybe you shouldn't have taken the engagement. Cannon galleons on water? Dude, cannon galleons on water would be something else. But no cannon galleons on water here. If we see a cannon galleon on water, I'll give 20 subs. I think it would be realistic to maybe see, like, War Galley. I think I heard that Yo in a series made longboats with Vikings here. Did that happen? I don't know. But Skirm Micro continues behind this. Villese's queuing up another scout. Viper will be able to add spears, of course, but he only has one spearman on the field. So Viper needs to recognize this, and it almost feels like Villese is trying to pull him away. And here we go. Now, you want to use the skirms on the spear. And that's what's happened. Viper's adding another spearman behind this. Honestly, if it's 3 scouts there, Viper's in big trouble. I still think he could fall back a little bit, but the spearman's not that close by, and the scouts definitely surprise. And this is the value that Villese wanted, and I think it does come back to the farming eco he had. Oh my god, this is so good as well. Bringing in the villager to repair, paying attention to that. I know it's on the same part of the screen, but not so easy to do. This has been such a clean opening here from Villese. Like, listen, I don't care who you are. You would prefer the first game be one of the more passive ones. Actually, that's not true. There's a lot of players who would disagree with that statement. I feel as though Viper and Villese would maybe have wanted the first game to be a map which was a little less crazy here. Actually, Viper recovers wonderfully there, killing the scouts. And now he's repaired his fire galley, and Villese needs to back away. Bear with me, guys. One sec. Res collected. Okay, Viper's still maintaining the lead. Crazy, man. And he had that lead at the start. Now he gets another eco kill there. Well, hold on. No, that's not another. The only other eco loss that Villese had was to the boar at the start. Viper dropping a market, and Viper's resources looking really good to click up to the next stage. And I don't think the water matters much more for resources. Like, the shorefish really are not going to be that helpful here, but it's just one more area for players to compete with, and players are always going to want to compete for space. Having this water later on could mean demos, could mean galleys to range this area, which is right next to the TC. There's going to be a demo coming from both of them. But for Villese, he's not repairing his ship right now. He's clearly distracted with the micro over here. And he does notice. They're fighting for a puddle. Have you ever seen players fight so much for a puddle? Bro, I fought over puddles at, like, recess. It's like, no! I want the bigger puddle to hop in. Am I the only kid that did that? Oh, villager died there. And fire ship very weak. Viper's got to be careful. Could always be another ship coming out. And Viper's up. So, you know, honestly, it was... Like, I can't question Villese's play too much here. I think he's played well. The KDs are pretty even, but... Maybe the civilization, but also maybe Viper just recognizing the situation with his civ. He didn't try and open too strong and aggressive. He just defended enough the whole way through Feudal. And this is where Chinese shine. And this is... not a map where if you're a minute and a half behind a castle age, you have many ways to hold, defend, and survive, guys. That's just the reality of it. I mean, Villese could quick wall. We're going to see some ridiculous attempts at quick walling here, but I just don't know if he's going to be too confident in his chances. Now, because Viper doesn't have many skirms, which he could do, big demo coming, big demo. Wait for it, get excited. Get excited. If you can get it right in the middle, it'll hit it all. Oh, wait. Come on, Viper. Give us something to get excited about. Hype. So hype. But yeah, because Viper doesn't have any skirms now, we could see Spearman defense, in theory, right? Against just the Knight opening from the Viper. But, you know, a lot of players, guys... Oh, geez. That's something we want to get excited about. Villese must be so frustrated right now. But, you know, a lot of players are going to think, ooh, I'm faster to castle age. Let's go for 2 stables, right? Let's go for the kill. Viper is not the type of guy. He's like, all right, 1 or 2 knights is going to force a lot of reactions from my opponent. I have the better eco civilization. Let's drop a monastery in case he has knights. We'll start grabbing relics. We might even see the second TC for him. And Villese will struggle here to defend from this, like we said. There's just, it's too open to be able to quick wall it up, full wall it, whatever you might want to do. And Viper just fights the spearman because a knight will 1v1 a spearman. And he understands that. And also the knights have the mobility. So he's using the mobility perfectly. And behind it, he's dropping TC number 2. Yeah, this is just classic snake stuff and then classic Chinese. Super clean from Viper. And even is going to pull this knight home to go heal it up with the monks. And then another knight's looping around. I feel for Villese at the moment. But the nice thing for us, guys, is this is going to be a great series. Like, both players are playing amazing. Sometimes you're like, okay, this guy doesn't have it today. I know it's just one game, but I really feel like both players have played so impressive here. Look at the quick walling from Villese. Oh my goodness, dude. I don't remember if we have a quick wall emote. We used to have a quick wall emote. I should know this, but, you know, we've got 60 of them. Oh, also Villese sniped a villager from Viper. Impressive. Oh, we do have the T90. Is it T90 wall or T90 quick? I don't even remember. Well, it was quick. And Villese defense. TC number 2 will go up. Dropping a monastery of his own. He does have 2 stables to make some knights to maybe counterattack. Viper does have some exposed areas because of the nature of the map, right? Looks like maybe he wants a TC here, but his wood count's not really there for it. Wouldn't surprise me if he buys some wood. Viper actually just lost a monk here underneath the TC. Not something you would really expect is to see knights go in against a monk underneath a TC like that. So a little sloppy play from Viper there, and Villese has been able to find some nice moments. Killing the monk, killing a villager here. This could be quick maths. Another villager dead? No. I don't know how. They, like, teleport the last 2 tiles. But, yeah. This is the area. If Villese can find this, that would be really good. But there's not really an area you ever expect there to be villagers from the enemy. But he knows Viper's here. He knows Viper's here. So he's trying to hit the other side. He might get fortunate. Like, right there, just passing a monk. And Viper trying to get another relic, and Viper losing another monk. There's always the temptation when you are the Lithuanians, or if you're against the Lithuanians, to get relics before using the monks to heal, or using the monks to get conversions and play defensively. The temptation's always there, because the thought of, what if my opponent gets all the relics, is always in your mind. But there are instances, and I think this has been one for Viper, where he's maybe a little too fixated on the relics. And this has given Villese an opportunity. And Villese, you can see, kept the monks at home. Like, he's got monks close by to get conversions. The Viper, though, with this monk. Oh, this could be so good. Because the one knight's also super weak. Oh, unfortunate for Viper. He loses the monk. He doesn't get a conversion. Over here, he also lost a knight. Man, how many people thought that Villese was dead when Viper was faster to Castle Age? You can't see me, but I'm raising my hand. Me. I was like, okay, Viper's just got to, you know, get a little bit of damage in with the knights. And he's going to be faster to TCs. This is Viper we're talking about. And Villese, he's not that many steps behind here, really. Res collected, I'm sure he is, because he's against Chinese. Viper's still got the lead. Still got the better position. Still, I think, has the better civ. But Villese is absolutely in this game. He's really making Viper work for it. Wow, Viper loses another monk. What in the world? He just won't protect his monks. Viper hates religion. This just in. Or maybe, I guess, maybe Villese does. I don't know. Maybe it's not important, and maybe that was a bad joke. But probably both. There was a conversion here. However, the skirms could kill that monk. Camel gets converted. Camel, do you want to switch back or not? Yes or no? Oh, what's happening? What is happening? Huh? What is taking so long for this conversion? That was like the longest conversion in the history of mankind. Okay, anyways. I mean, that one I can't really fault Viper for. Viper is losing a lot of his army. He doesn't have a lot of instances of counterattacks. And Villese has knights in Viper's eco, and there's going to be a whole lot of idle time for Viper here. That said, you know, still do have some action over here from the Viper. Looks like he was able to kill the villager. You can see the blue dots on top indicate that monks are here, though. Viper runs away instantly. God, this is so good, guys. I'm so excited that I'm casting this at the moment. Great to be back on Twitch. Great to be casting some Tourney Age of Empires. It's been a couple weeks. A couple weeks too long, man. Monk with wavering faith attempting to convert. Yeah, that's it. Well, wouldn't your faith waver if all the previous monks died? I think mine would. Not a good day to be a monk. Okay, finally, a conversion comes in for a monk. But 2 monks will die here. Viper will be very happy with that. That also keeps that relic away from Villese. Okay, so as another monk dies at like the same time. This is insane. Guys, there's a point when you get to about 70, 80 villagers, and it's a knight camel monk war, where you have the eco to justify a second barracks and like a third barracks and pikemen, perhaps. You never realistically want to try that against the civ like Chinese, though, because the Chinese can build a castle and go for an easy counter to the pikes and the Chukunu. So Villese seeing this is actually really good for him because he knows that the pikemen shouldn't be an option. But it's obviously kind of awkward for him because Viper's going to have a castle, and that's in a nice defensive position. Monks everywhere. Conversions happening. Relics just 1-to-1 right now. Should probably end up being 2 for Villese because he's got that relic in the back of his base. And there Viper just deletes the camel, not wanting that camel to switch sides. Viper, I think, will go full Chukunu here. Actually going to go light cav just to snipe monks at this point, which, I mean, makes sense. I like to see it, but I think he will be in Castle Age making Chukunu because his resources aren't there for Imp yet. And I could see a second castle coming up maybe over in this area. I think a castle here would be ideal because it does protect this golden wood, but then it also protects this stone, which is so awkward for him. Viper's Knights are in the back. All right, so if you're up against unique unit play, oftentimes what you want is a faster Imperial Age into trebuchets, right? But I feel like on this map, you could move forward and drop a castle, but then you're at the bottom of the hill. So actually pushing with castles is extremely awkward here because the opponent's going to have the advantage with the castles on hills and Trebor. So I think it's not a map where forward castles should work well. It should be a very expansive map where you're moving away from the opponent and into the back corner. Whereas most maps, you start far away from the opponent and move forward. I mean, here are the Chukunu. They've got Bod Canero. Chukunu are an amazing unit, man. Got 8 base attack. It's been an interesting unit. Like, Elite Chukunu, that upgrade... Wow, Lycav get converted there. The upgrade of Elite Chukunu doesn't actually give a lot of value. Like, I'm not sure on the numbers for it. But, like, compared to other upgrades, if you go from Standard to Elite, there's very little value. In fact, I don't... Again, I don't know the numbers on it. But I personally always get Rocketry before Elite Chukunu, which is their unique tech, because I feel like Rocketry has more of an effect. So, anyways, Lycav still should be out here. And sure, Viper lost a couple Lycav, but he just wants some mobility. He wants to force Villese back. And Viper is going for a forward castle here. But notice where it is. Like, if Villese had a castle here, it'd be awkward. But Villese has a castle here. So that hill advantage we talked about isn't necessarily a thing. And the Chukunu being masked by the Viper. A couple finds over here from Villese, though. Great stuff. Villese is going to be an Imperial Age before Viper. He also has Lithuanians, has very good skirms. There's potential that Viper could lose this castle and not have a building to produce this unique unit then. And he's looking to pressure with Cav and raid, and he's going to make Villese's life very difficult because he's going to be in all these different areas. However, the potential for defense is there for Villese. I personally always prefer to be in Viper's position, where you have a bit more map control and a bit more eco, and you're pushing, and you have the later Imperial Age. That's a personal preference. But I'm not good enough to take advantage of all the map control, right? Like, you know, that's kind of the tricky thing. So it really depends, as we say. And hey, first time I've said depends on a Twitch stream in a long time. It depends, yes. It just came about naturally, too. It wasn't even forced. All right. Still waiting for the adult diaper sponsorship when we're all old. It'll happen, guys. It'll happen. Stables coming up here for Viper. Siege workshops for Viper. That would indicate to me that he wants to go for Siege Ram. And Viper, okay, any pressure he had on this side, it wasn't very much. Oh, no, he does have the Lycav there. And he's still keeping an eye on this. Now, what you don't want to do if you're Villese, and this is why Viper's got so much control on the sides, is you don't want to put too much of your focus in defending the sides, because then you lose ground in the middle. So that's why it feels like he's very constricted at the moment. He kind of just got to accept that the sides are vulnerable for now, and hope that you can go for the Trebs and push Viper back. But, you know, resources are really at the limit right now. And Viper's just finding pickoffs everywhere. And I think Viper is going to be able to close this one out if this continues. The Lycav raids are adding up, at the very least in distractions. But right here, it's kills. He's got a 25 villager lead behind this. He's got a massive ball of Chukunu. And, you know, Lycav could always be there to support the Chukunu. And Viper knows that he just has map control, and map control is going to win him the game. So he doesn't even go for a Treb here, because he has the Rams. He's just going to go for conscription. And he might even give up this castle as well. I'm really curious to see if he repairs this or not. He might just say, fine, let the castle go down. I'll save my stone for more defensive castles later on. This is a bit of a risky castle for Viper, actually. But it's a map control castle. It's on the hill. It's in a corner of the map that will go up. And Lycav from Viper will go in. Yes, there's pikemen in there. The pikes could also go down to the Chukunu. It's really tricky back and forth. There's something satisfying about a massive Chukunu firing. You guys agree? Is really satisfying. I wish I could, like... I couldn't describe it to someone. Like, if someone said, oh, what's it sound like? If they've never heard it before, I'd never be able to do it. Choo, choo, choo. Like a really weird train. But yeah, this is awesome. And these things are far from being fully upgraded at this point as well. There's just a whole lot of blue in one big blob here, and that's Villese not being able to expand. And this is Viper's economy, the 20 villager lead that he has. And the combinational army he has, the Chukunu with the Lycav. Now, it will be slightly awkward for him to group up more Chukunu into this group if he were to lose it, because his castles are pretty spread out at home. The castle here and then the castle in the south. Lots of idle times. Nice job, Viper. But I don't think it really matters at this point, because this combination is far too strong. Viper will not lose the game from here, and as Viper picked up those 2 relics to take them back home for himself, Villese taps out and calls the GG. And again, back to what I said, I think this is a really good game. You know, Viper wins the game. Viper played amazing, but Villese played amazing as well. I think a large part of it is the Chinese. Maybe, though, Villese could have added a bit more army. You know, you just can't make mistakes against the Chinese. And he did lose a couple skirms in Feudal. It feels weird to say that it came down to skirms, but just like one slightly bad engagement and the rest was history. It did feel like there was potential for Villese to maybe snowball against Viper in Feudal, but Viper just maintained his good eco the whole game through. 10k more res collected there from the Snake, as we'll move on to the next games here shortly. All right, we've got a very desert-themed arena here. Woo! Hurts my eyes, not gonna lie. Not a fan. Too much dirt. Too much sand. But it's all good. We've got Viper playing as the Britons. And then Villese playing as the Burgundians, guys. All right. Not bad. Now, are we at live time here? Yeah, we're at live time. Perfect. So we'll have times to break this down, but let me just simplify the matchup here. Burgundians, cheaper eco upgrades in each age. And you can have some sick build orders where you get to a fast castle with a lot of resources collected. It'll be very similar to the previous game. Because the previous game, Viper had Chinese, and the Chinese had more resources collected throughout most of that game. I think the Burgundians will have that for a while as well. The Britons, it's more about their death comp. They do have cheaper town centers, which is nice, but it's more about that combination of like 50 archers with insane range and a lot of helps. So Viper he's probably the Briton player. He has been for many years, and he's played this on Arena many times. I personally feel as though the Burgundians, though, are just so good, you just can't bet against them. So, my live stream viewers, you can place bets with channel points now on who you think is going to win. Be curious to see what people end up doing here, because obviously you don't want to bet against Viper on Arena, but also you might not necessarily want to bet against the Burgundians. So, but it's Viper with Britons, so I don't know. By the way, you can't do anything with your channel points except be like, woo, I got points. I don't think I'm going to have any rewards for it, but I think it's fun. Is that cool? Also, I think it would be nice to have the flags here, especially these flags. There's something special about these 2 flags against each other, so let's do that. Ooh, yes. The flags. Experience has been enhanced. Someone said, what was the question? I missed the question. Okay, someone asked a question, guys. Was that great? Someone asked a question, and then I missed it. So, map-wise, just one more thing. Viper's map, if he were to get pushed, is rather awkward. It's also not one of the best maps to boom either, because you normally would want a resource like this, where you can place a TC next to wood and stone or wood and gold. The relics are pretty fair, though, so that's nice. But, I mean, Viper's probably not going to be pushed with army in Castle Age, so I don't think the forward stone and gold will matter for him. Yeah, the relic position looks fine, Basserman. I did see the Nikov Leary relic generation, and it looked pretty awkward. I think Nikov also had a bit of a rough day against Leary. I'm really, selfishly thankful that Leary 3-0'd Nikov, though, because it worked for my schedule, what time I was getting on, so I wouldn't miss this series. So, shout out to Nikov and Leary for that. You guys are amazing. I'm sure they thought about that, and I'm sure I won't get a message from Nikov later saying, T90, you're the worst. When Nilly announced that he's not going to be full-time Age of Empires 2 after NAC 5 in January, when he made that announcement, Nikov messaged me, and he said, you better not announce the same, or I will come to your house and slap you. Or something like that. No. The time he said he would fly to Florida and slap me was before Hidden Cup 4. And he was like, I swear if I'm up against Viper again, I will slap you. And then the random brackets gave him Leary instead. Ah! But I didn't get slapped. That's all that matters. I do feel so bad for Nikov. But hey, it happened. And I it's all banter, guys. It's all banter. Nikov's a great guy. He's such a good dude. So Viper used his scout to bring in the boar. Or elephant, sorry. It's a boar dressed as an elephant. All right? If I ever get it wrong. It's recently Halloween. It's the weekend after Halloween. They were busy the previous weekend. But that is notable here because a lot of times Britons won't even go for the early monastery. This tells us Viper will go for the early monastery because otherwise he'd be a fool to weaken his scout doing that. So he just plans on healing this up later on. But this is definitely uncommon for the Britons. But I don't think it's a bad play. It's not uncommon for Arena to add scouts and go for light cav and whatnot. All right, so it's Arena. I've said anything I could possibly say about the early game here. Let me just get some thank yous out here, all right? Thank you, Max, for the 2 months. Thank you, Minjambin, for 31. Eli, thanks for 32, dude. And also the gifted subs yesterday, I think. There are multiple Elis. I'm pretty sure it was you, though. Thank you. Burnin, thank you for the tier 3 5 months. Bill, the Galactic Hero, thank you. Bulby and the Quiet Rebel, thank you for the new subs. Hardy himself, not to be confused with my editor Hardy, but Hardy himself, thank you for the 50 months. I've missed names. Barbecue Python. I'm going to give some shout outs to some people I haven't seen in a while. Barbecue Python, nice to see you, friend. Hello, Jubine. Thank you for the support. Lurple, thanks for the 16. I'm in love with the new sub badges. If you're not in love with the new sub badges, just keep all of your negativity to yourself and don't ruin it for me. I think they look really nice. Looking forward to seeing those badges fill up over time. Good to be back, man. Do you think it's weird that the Persians' win rate went down for this patch? The patch is super new, right? I think, like, for content, you could maybe make some claims on the new patch already. But if you really want to, if you really want solid data on a new patch or new civilizations, you need more time, right? So, I don't think it's that weird. We need more time to see how things play out. People go into it with certain thoughts and certain things, and then that changes over time, and boink! Whoa, did that spearman... What? I think it was 2 instances where the spearman didn't do damage. Now, I've seen that before, and sometimes the sound from the spear hitting is not completely synced with the actual damage done. So basically, Viper microed too good. That is what we call anti-micro-micro. It's really annoying, though. A Viper might be frustrated he didn't get those hits there. But it is part of our very old game that the attack animation and the sound and the damage is not always completely synced. It's weird. Does the 90 and T90 official stand for your age? Is Tristan 90 years old? I'd look really good for a 90-year-old. I'm not sure if I look great for a 30-year-old. I'd say bang on average. But for a 90-year-old dude, yes, actually, guys, I am 90 years old, and I would like to sell to you this $250 potion that I have. It might taste exactly like water, but believe me, it is what keeps me young, all right? Listen, we're going to use it to fund a tournament, and all you got to do is just buy a dozen of these things, and suddenly you're young again. I'm a potion seller. Is it hot tub water? No. Lyca versus Scouts here. A lot of people out there would consider going for Pikemen here. Viper's not doing so, and Viper's a smart cookie for that, because still the Lycav can outmaneuver the Pikes. The idea here is it's easier for Burgundians with the cheaper eco upgrades and the cheaper stable upgrades to go for the Lycav. So Viper wants to compete for the middle, but he needs something more than just his own Lycav, because otherwise he'd be playing at a bit of a disadvantage. But I do still feel like this plays into the Burgundians' hands, and the Burgundians are strong here. So, like, look at the... Okay, well, I was expecting the resources collected to be a lot more, so I didn't prove my own point, but He is on the second TC a bit faster. He does have the wood and the farm upgrade and has had them for some time. We'll see, though. Viper does have the cheaper TCs, and he does have 2 of them going up. Just completed the second. I don't think you want to really sit back in the late Castle Age moments of the game against the Britons. The worst thing you can do is give the Britons time to build up those longbows or arbalest and get the mass. So I actually think having lots of map control is one of the biggest keys for Viper, aside from the relics. That way he does not allow Villese to move forward with siege workshops or forward castles. At least force Villese's first castle to be like here or here, and make him wait to have some army to build the next one. Very active, I mean, what did we expect? After the first game, where there's knights moving all around the map, sniping monks. Obviously on Arena, we were going to have Lightcap doing the same. All right. Lurden, thanks for the 14. Thank you, Bolex, for the 8. Saucy Dracula, Lerp. Oh, I said thanks, Lerp. Lerp, you got a second thanks. Getting ahead of the game for the next month. Is Flemish Revolution still OP? No, they basically nerfed it to a point where it's not competitively viable, in my opinion. That's the short answer. But big thing to talk about here is Viper's Lightcap finding 3 monk kills. He hasn't lost a single unit here. Well, he just lost a unit, but that's more than worth it. That's 300 gold down the drain. Also, nice little blocking there from Viper. It's kind of funny. He tried to block... Oh, God. Okay. Should I not compliment the guy? I mean, seriously. Bit of a jinx there. But, you know, he tried to block, but blocked with a weak Lightcap, which is making me making me laugh a little bit. Villagers on stone already for Villese. That's notable. Viper as well on stone. And relic count is 2-1 for the snake. KD 8-5 for Villese, but he did lose a lot more monks. And oh my goodness, Viper actually converts the Lightcap and kills the other one, which evens things out a bit more. Wow, 3K subs, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you for all the primes. I think Viper has a lot of reason to make more army here. Like, let's say this relic and this relic were collected. I still think you should be making more Lightcap and or spears. Just simply to stop the forward siege workshops or the castles. And that's something I think both players will recognize. I think a player... Little bit of Age of Empires tournament tendency trivia here. Which player would maybe even add a second stable here? Say it quick before either of these players do. That would be cheating if you said their names. There's a player who likes to add a second stable here. Okay, you do have people saying doubt, but Tato. Yeah, Tato does it a lot. Tato will go like 2 or 3 stables. It's civ dependent, of course, but Tato does it a ton. And of course, he's not the only one. He's not the only one. But that when I think about that, I associate that with Tato. It's a bad day to be a monk, dude. Beautiful micro from Viper. And Viper kills another monk there. Gets relic number 3, but also relic number 2 is in for Villese. So, it's been pretty even. Let's check resources collected now. Okay, so finally we're at a point where maybe the Burgundians have collected more. It's still very even, though. And honestly, just sick play from Viper. And because his TCs are cheap, he's on 4 TCs. Interesting, he actually bought food to get handcart. I like that. I think getting handcart early is definitely worth it. Especially on the 4th TC. I don't know, it just feels right. And now Viper has 3 Lightcap, 3 monks, 2 spears. It's very similar for Villese. So they're essentially matching each other, which means there's no easy way for players to justify a forward castle at the moment. His imp timing will be delayed, but if he has the map control, it's okay. Right? The 4th TC is fine as long as you still have map control in the middle to prevent a forward castle. Because he's going to want to play pretty defensive here. Again, great series here. This has been so good. And Viper runs into the gate. He might not be able to leave. He's ho-doored it, but he is ho-stuck. I don't know where I'm going with that. But, okay, both players are going to lose monks. Again, bad day to be an old man with a book. But I suppose it's still fine for Viper, right? because he's got that map control. You guys didn't know host stuck was a thing? Come on, Elevid. What are you doing? Step Hodor, I'm stuck. Hey, stable number 2. All right. It just doesn't feel like... It doesn't click for me completely. But I still think this could be a little bit of army into a more forward castle. Look at this castle from Viper. He's taking his time. Dropping a barrack. So he's thinking Halb longbow, most likely. Longbow a bit risky. And, ooh, Villese clicked Cavalier. I don't hate it. Because the longer the matchup goes, the worse this is for you. And Viper has more relics. So, guys, this is the possibility to look really, really bad, okay? But I got to explain ahead of time why it could look bad. Because people were always like, well, why did he do that? What else are you going to do other than just crazy paladins to this Burgundians here? Your skirmishers lack the final armor. And skirmishers against Britons is already a struggle with any civ. Because the Britons have such long range. So I think this is just like... YOLO, baby. And go for it. And then you might even time it with a castle and Trebs, too. Ultimately, I think this is the castle he wants. But yeah, Viper's going for his death comp. Very late with blacksmith upgrades, though. Viper should absolutely be getting blacksmith upgrades right now. He doesn't have a single one. And he certainly is floating resources, so that's just one thing we could be critical of there for Viper. Is Burgundian still viable in these games, considering the Flemish Revolution is nerfed? Yes, they're amazing with their boom. They're amazing with the cheaper stable upgrades. And, those things combined still makes them great. I think Britons are a bit of a tricky matchup, especially stylistically. But the Flemish Revolution itself is not something that pros will go for now. They've made it they've made it so you can still do the tech, and it's still instant. But it's based on the cost of it is based on how many vills you have. And they basically priced it out of being competitive, in my opinion. So it's more of like a fun lower elo tech, I would say, which could work really well there. But here you're just going to see players go for tons of army. And this is so sick. Cheaper stable upgrades. He had, and Cavalier and Castle, right? So he had already researched Cavalier before he made it to Imp. And now he's got Paladin on the way. Viper's not even Imp yet. Look at this castle position from Villese. This is sick. And he's going to see Pikes. And there's Warwolf for the Viper. Instantly kicks Warwolf before he even makes a Treb. So he wants to win the Treb war. Did end up getting enough upgrades there for the Halbs. In all honesty, it's just armor. Attack. Obviously, you might want to get it, but a lot of players here might even just do Fletching, Bodkin, Bracer for the castles instead of the extra attack. Because with a counter unit like Skirmisher, well, mainly Pikeman's the best example. It's all about bonus damage. There's a massive attack bonus difference between Pikeman and Halb, so they just get Halb. There will be Bombard Cannons for Villese. All this stuff is so pricey. Paladin, Cavalier, only. Bombard Cannon, Trebs, like... Whereas Halbs, just cost some wood and food. Save your gold for other things. And Warwolf Trebs would win the Treb war. They do splash damage, and then they have 100% accuracy. The timing that will win or lose both players the game is here, guys. This is it. This is the moment. I think when you're Paladin, you should actually even fight the Halbs, as stupid as that sounds. Just, it doesn't, it's actually not stupid. Don't stand next to the Treb there. He doesn't know Warwolf is in. He should know Warwolf is in now. Will he fight it? He doesn't want to fight it. The repairs are actually enough. Viper needs to use his Trebs on one Treb from Villese. Oh, man. Here we go. Just take the engagement. Yeah, I think you just have to. Because... Oh, God! What is that? What happened? I think he was like, nope, just kidding. I don't want to take this fight. Both players lose a Treb. And the Paladins lost a lot of HP there. Viper loses his castle, though. So in the end, the Paladins survive. I thought he was going to, like, kind of dance in the middle of the Halbs and then lose them. He doesn't lose them. He's putting pressure on Viper, and Viper doesn't have longbows. He doesn't have range. It's just pure Halb. Burgundians also have amazing gunpowder. I forget the percentage, but their gunpowder does more HP. Or more HP, wow. It does more damage. I think it's 20%, 25%. Yeah, okay, 25%, thank you. And so Viper's stuck on Halb only because of the threat of Paladin and because of the pressure and the timing, and now gunpowder comes out. And this becomes really complicated for Viper now. Really good patience from Villese. Obviously looked a bit awkward there in that fight for a moment. But he didn't lose his trebuchets, or many of them. And this is something Viper does. Like, he just got away with being out here, but Villese is just able to check now. And so many players would be tunnel visioned to push here because this is where you're winning. Not allowing Viper to get that gold. Viper's so late with some of these things. Like, just now getting crossbowmen. But, you know, it's a mixture of maybe Viper being a little bit late to it, but also it's just the pressure and the timings of these types of attacks. Maybe the first castle could have been defensive for Viper. He could have built up more range units. I don't know. But I do know Villese needs to continue this push here. And I think you don't even want to tech skirm here. He probably will. But seriously, you win this game if you just go full gold units and can push a little bit further here. So just put your foot on the gas, pedal to the metal here, and see what you could do. Viper will probably try and use his Trebs. Look what he's doing. He's putting the Trebs way far back so the hand cannons can't get there. And the Treb, something killed that bombard cannon. It was most likely the Treb. And now there's hand cannons in the mix. And again, I guess it's Villese realizing he doesn't want to take the fight as it's happening. And a good pushback from Viper. He's not finished yet, and the Trebs are slowly packing up. But they are trying to get away here, and Viper's going to kill one of them, but he's lost a lot of army here. Having said that, it just helps. So it's not a unit you'll be too upset about losing. Paladins are going to dive here for Villese. Viper with the gate, not there in time, and the Treb will go down. Wow, what a play there from Villese. I don't know if he'll get this one. But look at how easy it is for... I was just going to say, look how easy it is for Villese here, but he lost both cannons. Sick play from Viper there, actually, because he should have run away, expecting the bomber cannon shots, but he noticed that Villese was not quite paying attention to that. And that gives him a couple more moments here. Still no Arbalest for the Viper. Still not a lot of gold income. And look at this castle for Villese. Look at all the gold income he has. He doesn't need skirms. Just go full gold units, baby. Paladins and hand cannons. And now he's even going for Burgundian vineyards. So now you get gold income from your farms. Insane. And it's tricky for Viper, right? He doesn't have the Trebs mass. He doesn't have the crossbow upgrades. He doesn't have the help numbers now because he's had to take some pretty bad fights. And I just like to see Villese continue more of the same. And if he does that, we might have ourselves a tie in this series. That's so frustrating, though. That is so frustrating. That is what Britons can do with Warwolf. And Villese clearly so frustrated with it. What's happening here? That he is running through, and he's going to kill the Treb. Even if he were to lose all the Paladins for that, I think it's worth it. Because of the fact that Viper then doesn't have a way to kill the bomber cannons and the Trebs. And Viper just taps out. Viper taps out. The Paladins were into the back of his eco. The push was going to continue here. And like we said, Viper's super good with Britons. But the potential in like early Imperial Age and just the pure strength and power of what the Burgundians are able to send and the timing on it is really, really strong. If you think of a civilization like Franks, also has hand cannons, also has Paladins. They have stronger Paladins. Also has bombard cannons. It would take the Franks longer to get the Paladin upgrade. And they wouldn't have quite as much potential at the time that Villese came through. And so that was it. And, you know, I think for Viper, he maybe felt a little too comfortable in this position. Because it really looked, he's all right, I'm going to extend my boom. I've got my castle. I can go Warwolf. I don't think Viper was expecting to ever lose this castle. And, you know, once he lost it, obviously, Villese... What's so cool, man, is he pushed this, but he didn't just do this. He did this as well. Like, this was awesome, expanding to the other areas. which allowed him to push like he did. Look at the difference in food and gold collected. And stone. Crazy response from Villese. Very well played. Great game. KD was insane. And it was the more expensive units, but the units with more potential for power. Britons are more about like 80, 90 army that you could just spam all the time. And yeah, 3-1 KD there for Villese. Obviously, he's not going to complain. All right, ladies and gents, here we are, game number 3. And we've got Bohemians for the Viper. And we've got Chinese for Villese. So I've been extremely neglectful in terms of the draft this cast because of acclimating to the new platform and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure the way the draft works is they both get like a free pick of sorts at the start. So you can have both players with the same civ available. If you miss game number 1, Viper won with the Chinese. So Chinese, I think the preferred civilization for this map. Bohemian's a good closed map civilization. You can make Gold Rush closed. But I definitely consider it a little bit of an awkward pick for Viper to play with. We are catching up to live time here. As I established in the cast of the first game, a lot of people feel like Chinese are even more OP in this particular tournament than they are in regular because it's a 9 villager start, right? Which means for the Chinese, they actually start with 12. But other tournaments with 9 villager starts have docked even more food from the Chinese's traditional start. And this is still the standard minus 200 food. So they have 12 vills, right? Like the idea behind why other tournaments do it, as this guy deletes the house. You start with the house, and I think he just didn't want that. Kind of like Viper had this one, but... the idea behind it is like having 12 villagers, you collect the resources a lot faster, obviously, than having like 6. And if you have 12 villagers, you can make up for the lost food of the minus 200 Chinese start a lot faster than a normal start. Again, I think this is better than going like supersonic mega speed, so I'm just speeding up a bit. This to me looks like eco upgrades and spearman defense for the Viper, which is an interesting approach. And it's actually going to be archers for Villese, which is going to be a good opening against spearman defense here. Is Viper going to go white phosphor? Do you guys think Viper knows white phosphor strat? I would guess no. The U pudding made sense a bit because U pudding was like 200 elo higher. And then U pudding could potentially run into some of these guys on the ladder. I don't know if Viper knows about it. You guys think he knows it? Viper knows all the meta? Okay. He's probably seen it at this point. Okay. Well, Viper's really good. In TTL, he used the wagons. I don't know if he knows the fast castle with the wagons. Oh my god, look at the lions! Am I fast forwarding? No, they're so warmed up now, they're going so much faster. Yes, I'm fast forwarding. Sorry, we're trying to catch up to live time. The way I spectate the games was bugged, so I missed it initially. Anyways, as I said, the archer opening is really nice here against the spear defense play. May force Viper into, some other unit choices here, and it looks like Viper will go for skirms. Viper went for some very big walls here, which does secure a lot of his gold and his stones, but not really his wood. And the wood is a big concern for him. He will need to have those skirmishers here sooner rather than later. Viper absolutely knows how broken wagons are right now in that context. He knows? Okay. Well, again, my question was... Like, my theory is I don't think as many pros know about the specific build of white phosphor versus the U-pudding build. But if anyone would know that, maybe the Viper. I don't think he would ever do it, though. And as I explained in the second episode of that of the white phosphor series, I think there are weaknesses to it that maybe the pros would recognize a bit more. Viper cooks up to Castle Age, but he's been under some pressure here. Some positives for him, though, is he's got pretty good walls up. So he's able to watch this, drop the second TC and get pretty good Vill count. But he's going to be extremely vulnerable here. And with the uptime from Villese, I could see Villese adding a stable to maybe have a knight on the field to push back any skirms. And I think this is just asking for a forward siege workshop as well. Forward siege workshop would prevent players from expanding onto the golds. Also, I don't know who the map scripter is for this tourney. I would guess Krazini, but I don't know. But they went for the best version of Gold Rush, so well done. I actually had used Krazini to help me with this, like, idea of Gold Rush, where you can build TCs. Like, both players can build TCs in the gold area, but it's not like one person gets the TC up and the game is over. You can even build a TC here. So the idea is more flat ground and the gold's more spread out, so it's not quite as snowbally. Whereas if you play the ladder version of Gold Rush, I mean, I love Gold Rush, don't get me wrong, but the ladder version of Gold Rush, you can't TC these. But maybe they changed the ladder version too, I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I played it. But yeah, it was like 3 years ago, I think. Yeah, it was 3 years ago. I had Krazini make this type of version. So maybe they used the same script. Second TC for the Viper. But guys, when you see TC positions, you got to think about more than just the fact that TC is going up. And it is on wood and also stone. So Viper thinking about an eventual castle. There's the Fervor upgrade for Viper. I still wonder if the T90 sound mod has ever changed the Fervor upgrade to the T90 creep. People used to say that the Fervor is as close to the T90 creep as other icons in the game. It's like, don't look at it for too long, you know? It freaks you out a little bit. What was I saying? I was talking about something. I distracted myself. Oh yeah, what Fervor does. So Fervor makes monks faster, but for the Bohemians, it makes villagers faster too. So it's a nice upgrade to get. This is just such a rough position for Viper to be in. Viper's defense is gonna have to be so stellar here. I would be completely dead in this scenario. You've gone 3 town centers. So like he hasn't upgraded his skirms at all in Castle Age because he's trying to get some sort of an eco lead. He's got pressure coming in from both sides. Has not reacted over here. Now he does. You can see the speed is there. It's just not going for a siege workshop. But like even if you go for a siege push, resources are kind of at the limit and you have to fight up the hill eventually. But I mean, that's just Viper value, right? Converts a crossbow and then uses that to kill the weak crossbow. That was very nice. Does lose the monk, though, and it was because he was reacting over here because this palisade has gone down. But, man. 2 TCs behind this for Villese. This is not an all-in play. And this is just Chinese being Chinese, dude. And Villese has to be said, playing very clean. I said it in game 1. He lost that game, but he played incredible. Villese's always put up pretty good performances against Viper. Yeah, Viper was Chinese in Game 1 Zenith, but the draft format for this tourney is a bit different. So you can have repeat of civilizations for the other players. So I'm guessing they both picked Chinese first. The value and percentage here is the number on the left is the overall army value. And the number on the right is the percentage of gold spent on that value. So 53% of the resources spent for the army Villese's made is gold. You wish you could hide that value? Well, T-West, I'm going to add resources collected to my overlay. This is not the time, but if you guys had ideas on where you'd like to see that, I think resources collected is more valuable to me than this. Ironically, value, So I think I'm going to have resources collected here instead of value. The tricky thing is, I could always add more data, but then it's more stuff covering the screen, and I really like a minimalistic approach. I actually think I could maybe add it to the second page where I toggle over and see this. But, like, this stuff isn't relevant to me majority of the time, so I don't look at it. Viper with a castle. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness, Viper. Is this castle ever going to go up? It could go up. The Mangonel's on the way. Viper will need some patience here. Viper losing some villagers. It's actually the first villager he's lost, which is super impressive. Mangonel needs to kill the Mangonel from Villese. Villese saw it. Now, he can't go in with the knight because Viper will have a monk around. So it's actually really tough for Villese right now. I think he recognizes that it's way too much to ask for him to deny that castle. Now I wonder if Viper will make Hussite wagons. Expanding his eco. Something that Snake does really well is when he's at a disadvantage, he does not break. It's what the best players do. 3 TCs for Villese, all at home, but he's on stone thinking about a castle eventually in the middle. This siege workshop is just, it's such a good position in the long run to deny Viper from golds. But you always have enough gold on Gold Rush. As Viper goes to sneak a relic, very cheeky of him to do so, but you always have enough gold to make a lot of army and push towards the middle. So we'll see. Can't you remove the names as long as it is in the same color? It should be readable. What? Huh? I don't know what that was. Guys, I'm still new on Twitch, but I think if you're joking, you're supposed to add a kappa, right? Aren't those the rules? I'm confused. I like the Lycav edition here from Villese. Really like it, actually. Like, 3 or 4 Lycav in addition with the Mangonels are perfect. Way better than any Knights. Okay, crossbows diving in. Now, the Mangonels do bonus damage against the Hussite wagon. I'm sure Viper would love nothing more than to be able to build his next castle here that would take out all this gold. He's getting redemption now to convert siege. The Lycav are so valuable here. What does Viper see? Let's go with the snake's eyes, okay? Here he is. He sees 1 Lycav. He should be able to kill that 1 Lycav eventually here, but he loses the monk. Started to convert the Lycav. Now he has redemption, which means he can convert the siege, but also buildings. Converting the buildings will take time, however. But you also could charge the conversion. So you start converting here, and then you switch, and you're going to get a faster conversion. Viper hasn't switched, though, and he loses the monk. And he only has 1 monk here, and the Mangonel pops out. Doesn't get the kill, but the monk goes down. The crossbows get the kill, and Villese... It's a very nice cleanups on expensive units from Viper here, as he maintains a nice little eco lead. And now Viper just still has the food trucks, people. The food trucks. You can't charge anymore? Okay, guys. Thank you for telling me. I always get confused sometimes between the things that could happen in the next patch and the things that actually happen in this patch. So that's my excuse, okay? I can get in trouble if I spoil things. So I'm proud of myself. All right? So that would explain why Viper didn't switch the conversion possibly at the right time. But listen, I think like Lycav Mangonel is perfect. I don't even know if you need the crossbows, but I don't think the timing here on the food trucks is great. At this stage of the game, when you've got economy and you've got a varied army comp, it gets really tough for Viper to use only the Hussite wagons. Now, I don't know if Villese knows redemption is in, and he actually deleted that. That is a smart delete right there. But, you know, I think Lycav with numbers could kill this. I just don't know if pros know that. Because, so let's look at the Hussite wagon stats, right? So 180 HP. They have 6 pierce armor. Where's the armor here? Okay, sorry, 7 pierce armor, 0 melee armor. So I think the ideal comp is like Lycav and then 1 Mangonel behind. The Mangonel does lots of damage, but then the Lycav actually are doing 7 damage a hit as well. Easier said than done because these things are so chunky, dude. But Villese, moving forward, they also do a considerable amount of damage. So I think I'm oversimplifying it for sure. Definitely oversimplifying it. And then it's like, oh, add Lycav against a civilization that gets really good pikemen. That sounds dumb. So it's tricky. Little woo-woo-woo or rar, whatever lions make. Castle in the middle for Villese. This has been clinical, man. This is so good. And he wants to dive in to try and kill the monk. Won't get the monk kill. And Viper actually converts the Lycav. It has been a clean opening from Villese. He'll be able to make trebuchets. Where Viper makes his castle's critical. This castle here could be trebbed down if the Treb was sitting here. It's kind of an awkward spot to sit, but still obviously a great thing to do. And, ooh, wait a second. Viper, where you going, bro? Where you going? He wants to secure that gold. Oh, the Lycav are here. Ah, panic. Quick wall. Oh, disaster for the Viper. The castle won't go up. So castle could have been trebbed down if it went up, but now it's just going to be completely denied. And he's got pikeman upgrade on the way for the spears, but there's still crossbowmen here. And oh boy, the food trucks. They thought they were off today. Oh, geez. This is looking rough for Viper. I don't even think the castle even goes up here. 95. 95. And more villagers on the way. Villese is feasting right now. Okay, castle will probably complete. That is a lot of commitment from the Viper. Commitment that he needs to do. And Villese just needs Trebs at this point. Villese garrisons into his castle. Be curious to see what Viper does. Viper actually making petards out of this castle to try and take this castle down. And then sitting underneath with the Hussite wagons. Now, the presence of the Hussite wagons does make life awkward for the next Treb for Villese, but I'm pretty sure you just roll it back here and you're fine. Viper, if he chooses to follow, would get hit by the castle fire. And these Trebs could also go in the castle. Villese initially started to take out the siege workshop because he's worried about bombard cannons from Viper. And yeah, he does the right thing there. Viper is making a trade cart. I know that Viper knows that trade is not possible in 1v1s. I don't actually know what the hotkey is, guys, but it's nice to know Viper makes this mistake as well. There's a hotkey that is in the market that is very similar to my go-to market or very similar to the price change hotkeys, and I do this so frequently. Actually, you can trade. That's true. You can trade with the enemy, but it's not something Viper tried to do. Viper's like, that's a mule cart, right? He's been playing with the new civs too much. Which, by the way, if we cross 5k viewers here in a bit, let's give away a new DLC key. Thanks, everyone. Viper's just in it for the content here. I think we all know that. Always appreciate him for it. We already did? Okay, well, people left. Never mind. Never mind. If we were already there and then people left, then I'm actually not in the mood anymore. So, take it back. I mean, Viper needs gold. I'm kidding. We were still good. We could still do it. Like to see Arbalest come in for Villese. Would like to see more castles. Like, honestly, at this point, he could be pushing and taking engagements against this if he had the upgrades. Just needs... He's done a lot here and just has to make sure... As Viper's sending the trade cart to the middle. Oh! I mean, he hasn't been at Villese's base in a long time, so he doesn't know where the market is, to be fair, guys. All the food trucks died. Yeah, he just wanted to use the trade cart as a distraction. All right. I'm not a big fan of the crossbowman being in this type of a position for Villese. He has to be very careful against these bombard cannons. Now, in an ideal game with Bohemians, you will have also had Hoofnita on the way already. Viper is not able to do that because he needed to invest in the pikes and the skirms. But nice fights for Viper here, actually. And again, you could still take golds, despite how awkward that moment was for him. That's why I like this version of Gold Rush. Massive advantages for Villese still, but... I think, depending on... what your eco looks like, obviously. I wouldn't even mind Cavalier and Cross and Arbalest because you're not going to run out of golds here, in theory. You wouldn't normally see that. Also, I think the Chinese Great Wall tech would be really nice. Oh, wait, no, I think that only adds HP to the towers and the walls. But, yeah, I don't think we're going to see a Great Wall through the middle, so maybe not. He's got the stone for it. Actually, Bombard Tower would be really sick. Viper's micro, really good. And Villese's taking some shaky engagements here. It feels like to beat Viper in a series, as Viper has built a defensive castle because he's scared about raids. Oof. It feels like, if you're going to beat Viper in a series, this is a position you have to capitalize on. This has been awesome. Trebs being pulled to the side. Like have continually thrown in. And more upgrades needed for some of the range units here from both players. Those upgrades are flying in. The hill's still extremely valuable. Viper has 4 cannons. They're not all there, though. He's going to lose the sides of his base. Villese is still keeping an eye on this, whilst trying to hold the middle. Viper's not actually threatening the middle. He's not hitting the middle just yet. So the castles give Villese time. And it's just like a small detail, and small details are the hardest things in these moments. As Viper wheels the bombard cannons over here to take the Trebs, he's going to miss it. Watch. Oh, that would have been sick, though. I would like to see this castle be repaired. Look at the amount of Arbalest Villese just lost. Viper building up a pretty big army here. And I think the lack of bombard cannon for the Chinese becoming a bit of a problem right now for Villese. Because he just feels like he can't get in close to these bombard cannons. Chinese also, they lack block printing on their monks. So going for monks in the Imperial Age to convert these feels very... Wait, did they get block? No. They get block printing, but they lost redemption. That's what it was. That was a change a couple years back. So no redemption means you can't convert the cannons at all. Viper's got 38 on gold. Viper just waiting. And I think Viper can win this game. Look at the engagements over the last couple minutes and try and disagree with me. Couple side raids could be good for Villese. But, you know, he's going skirms with all this gold. I really think Cavalier, like... Cavalier Arbalest, just full gold comp all the time, is maybe your best bet. Oh, man. Viper not paying attention for a moment. Loses 2 cannons. Nice job there from Villese. Wonder about even Onager. Like, yeah, bombard cannons, monks, and all those things could deal with the Onagers, but I actually think it just makes Viper work a little bit harder if you mix in Onager. It could be a smart move. And it is possible Villese doesn't realize just how much gold income Viper has right now, too, right? You think, I have full control of the middle. I'm fine. Well, Viper has enough gold to last him for another 20 minutes here. Viper. Oh, nice little shot there. No hoof needs to upgrade for Viper. Villese just clicking through to kill cannons there. It comes at a great cost. Even production buildings are important to look at here. 4 ranges, if that becomes 10, could be helpful. 6 stables, if that becomes 10, could be helpful. And a big switch for Villese on this side. He's got Trebs waiting. He's hoping Viper's not paying attention. I don't think Viper knows about this yet, but he's certainly going to have some time to react. The light cav are over here, though. Viper's distracted over here. Oh, this is so good for Villese. Everything's happening at once. Viper's looking at the other side. He was definitely looking at the other side there. Look, he reacted with the repairs and the cannons getting pulled. And now Villese is sending the light cav to go for the cannons. Now, Viper could still kill Trebs here. He could still kill all the Trebs. But what a great moment there for Villese, who will get 1 bombard cannon. And he's going to get the 2nd bombard cannon. Wow, that was so good. He still hasn't lost his castle over here as well. And now you begin to worry for Viper. That was so well executed. To pull Viper in one position and then instantly strike him in the next. I love how obvious that was for us as viewers as well. That is something I always try and point out these days. It's not always quite that obvious. Viper still has the population lead, folks. And, oh crap, okay, thank God. I thought I spilled water on my keyboard. Pro streamer. Yeah, I'd love to see Onager, dude. A big old fiery rock ball heading in towards those skirms would have to make Viper think. But it just doesn't feel like it's ever good on paper against the Bohemians. So that is why he's not doing it. Lycav finding some kills. The Lycav still pushing the bombard cannons back. As long as you have the food eco to make more of these all the time, it could be good. Again, I do wonder, would Cavalier be an option here when you have 4K gold? You're not going to run out of it. This is the Arabia thinking for Villese. You eventually run out of gold, so you don't want to go for double gold comps. Still doing a fantastic job. A few random units got into Viper's eco here. The fact that Viper had to build both these castles in the middle is the biggest problem for him in this game, and it's just been because of the pressure from Villese. But that's a lot of cannons. I think even siege ram would be really good to just ram in here and choo-choo down those buildings. It's a lot of units from Viper. Oh my goodness. We'll lose a Treb though, and the castle stays up for now for Villese. I think the key word is for now. Defensive castles, while that wouldn't have been the positions Viper would have wanted for them, it's still really nice because it allows him to fully focus on the middle. And maybe he will run out of this gold eventually. I don't know. But he's got 1,400 gold in the bank right now. And if these bombard cannons connect, it's going to be sick each and every time. Villese just sacrificing Arbalest to kill bombard cannons, though. And it's worth it. Oh, he's going to kill them all. Bye-bye bombard cannon. And bye-bye Lycav, as they're just kind of sitting there. But that happens. Stressful moments, stressful times. Crazy game, crazy series, man. First series I've covered in this Warlords tourney, and it's delivered big time. Villese is saving gold for his future, and his family's future, and his great-grandchildren's future, and probably even the generation after that. Like, this guy, he's setting his family up for life here. Holy crap, dude. Big mango shot. He's saving for the next game. Can you imagine if that was possible? How that would influence games? I feel like it would lead to players stalling out games, right? That would be that would be funny. Actually, that'd be horrible. No, players who were winning wouldn't kill the opponent until they knew they had as much gold as possible. Viper doesn't have the cannons anymore. Viper doesn't have the halbs that he needs. He doesn't have the skirm mass that he needs. This is Viper's last castle towards the middle. This is Viper's last little bit of gold. This could be horrible for him. But again, we said it at the start, right? Like, Bohemian's just so tricky, and Chinese, I think, are the best civ in this tournament with the way the tournament's designed. We saw it from Viper in game number 1. We saw it here as well from Villese. Very important for the tournament, fairness sake, that both players had the possibility to pick it. Otherwise, I think we'd never see it played. It'd always be on the ban list. And great pickoffs there on the cannons. Yes, Villese is lacking the population of Viper, but his eco's ridiculous. His eco's insane. Still wild to me we never saw the Onager upgrade. Like, he is making mangonels. You know, Chinese do get Onager. It would teach players how to resign, though. Think of a player who gets tilted really easily and resigns too early. Imagine what they would do if gold could get carried on to the next game. Someone would lose a villager to a boar, and they'd resign because they'd be like, oh, no, don't want my opponent to have gold. I think I'm dead. It's not really that good of an idea. It's fun to think about, but I think it'd be horrible in practice. Viper now exposed. It's not that he wasn't exposed here before, but now Villese can think about pressuring there. This castle here to move over to this gold is the next target for the Viper. And Villese just needs to keep an eye on that and potentially push it. Viper is going to be spotted now. Crazy that Viper's kept his population so high. Really impressive. Like, always having units in queue. But I also think it's just the Lycav die so quickly. Like, Cavalier, 40 more HP. They have 5 more attack. And that's before you talk about armor. You cannot convince me that with 5k gold, you shouldn't be going Cavalier and Arbalest. Or at least have Onager teched. Telling you, man, like, if he loses this game, the banking of the gold might be something we look back to. But I have a lot of confidence in Villese, even against the Viper here. And I think Viper is going to struggle eventually to continue to take this gold. He's actually going to struggle for wood and food more than anything with all this area. Look at this wood eco. This will lead to Viper having some big problems soon. And he can't realistically be down here for too long before Villese spots it. Another small thing there would be outposting would be really good. Is Hufnitsa not worth it? Hufnitsa was maybe worth it when Viper was popped before. I think now he always needs to have skirms and halbs in queue. It never really felt natural for Viper to get to Hufnitsa. And I think, like, it was maybe a little too risky because he's been behind this whole time. So I can't be too critical of not getting it. Your opponent doesn't have bombard cannon. We've seen the bombard cannons alone versus a no bombard cannon civilization still do a really good job. Yeah, Viper's not floating that many resources, right? You're going to start to see these Vil kills add up. But, you know, he maybe has one more chance here. And attack rounds from Viper. You see Villese just hoping to dive in. He's got 7,000 gold! What? 7k! He's still mining gold forever, too. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna win. I'm gonna re-say it because it bothers me and I need you guys to hear it again. If you have 7k gold, don't go for trash units. Just for like 10 minutes. Like, that is when you've gone to the point of ridiculousness with banking gold. Just go for Cavalier, please. Yeah. The thing is, it's still going to climb pretty considerably here. A big engagement coming in. Bomber Cannon goes down for Viper. He does have new needs on the way. Oh, man. Big shots from the Bomber Cannons. That will only get greater for Viper. Can Viper do this? Viper was not spotted down here. Now, he may be in a moment. But he's got Hoofnitsa. If he could just win this fight. See if he can. I think he can. Boom! No. Okay. Well, he's doing okay. He's got Trebs and cannons. He takes out... Could take out some of the Trebs here from Villese. Villese dives with the light calf. Viper defends the bombard cannons. He will have 4 of them. Soon to be 5. Soon to be 6. Villese's population is trying to... Now, wait for it. Wait for the panic where he clicks Cavalier and queues up Knights. Wait for it. If he starts to lose stuff, I guarantee you, Onager or Cavalier comes in. Because he's like, oh my god. I need something more. The trebuchets are exposed for both. Viper lost 2 cannons to the Arbalest from Villese. Such a great play! What a great job! Viper's down to 3 cannons now. Still has had gold though, right? It's all very close to the action here, but he's had it. He was spotted here, but he did react because he was able to get a TC up. Hoofnitsa's in now. Boom. Big shots there. Castle still being repaired here for Villese. And Viper refuses to die. A sick hold from the Viper. Seriously. I mean, Villese's played amazing. Look at the Eco KD. Look at the control Villese's had. He just has these resources, man. And there's just a couple tweaks here or there. Or maybe it could make more of a difference. Yes, you do not want to necessarily make onagers against a civ that gets bomber cannon. There's strong reasons in a normal game to not do that. But this is Gold Rush. And here, you might not want to make expensive gold units on a horse against these halves from Bohemians. But it is Gold Rush. Viper is going to move to the middle. Viper could buy... Big shot from Viper! Viper could get another! And he does get another. He could buy the stone to drop a castle in the middle, and then the middle could be his. Viper is going to reclaim the middle, and now all of this is exposed for Villese. And I think Villese has lost this game now. Crazy stuff. Viper's running out of trees here, right? Like, it's been so difficult for him to even get that. But his engagements with the halbs and the skirms and the numbers of them and the consistent production and the great micro has paid off for him. And no bombard cannon available for the Chinese. And never anything other than just the light cav and the arbalest. We may see a player resign with more gold than we've ever seen from a resigned player before in a 1v1 here. Like, in theory, we are a minute away from Villese being down to 130 pop, and he might think that with Viper having gold, he can never come back. I want to see him spend all this gold, but... Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, Hoofnitsa is insane! Oh... Just so satisfying to watch as well. It's so hard to get to. Viper had to delay it for so long. And oh, I feel for Villese because he played so good. But there was always the chance, right? There's always that chance that like you needed a little bit more. Maybe Siege Ram was another option. Now, how does he bring it back? Let's talk about positives for Villese because it's not looking great, right? Well, I think you have to like hope to continue to run in here with Lycav to snipe cannons, which he's doing. Viper got halbs pulled out of position, but the second part of that is the most important part of the sentence. You got to pull Viper out of position by trying to hit him here, trying to hit him here, trying to hit him here. Viper's got units around, right? So he's in a pretty good spot to defend from that. But we've seen instances in this game where Villese was able to distract, and then the second Viper looks back to his cannons, he's already lost 2 or 3 of them. But, I mean, we've got 50 light cav in the queue. Villese making more stables now to get more units out here. It's just always going to be light cav and arbalest here. And Viper went for elite Hussite wagon to combine that with the rest of his units. So he's got some real tank now to combine with everything. It's kind of awkward. Like, Viper doesn't really have a good raiding army, and I don't think he should necessarily tech into things like cavalry, but big attack rounds. Oh, jeez, it could have been worse. Big attack rounds? Nope. But Halbs are here to protect. Yeah, like Viper, when Viper has this type of position with Hoof needs it, he will be patient, and he'll just make sure that he's not vulnerable on the sides first. Man, what a crazy game. Viper doing Viper things. That's going to be a Treb going down. Here we got the raids from Villese. Hold on, guys. Light cav are doing some work. Cannons are not distracted, though, and they're going for that castle. Wow. All right, I'm going to ask my live viewers. If Villese went Cavalier when he had 7k gold, had like 40 Cavalier instead of 40 light cav, do you think that he wins this game? I don't think it's that simple. I think he has a much better chance. They would die to Halbs? Yes, but they have 40 more HP and they have 5 more attack. So they would do considerably more in their attacks. 7k was too late? Okay. Yeah, it's tricky. And now it's like you've lost the position and you have all this gold and it's still not enough to necessarily bring you back. Crazy stuff, though. I think we can look at things that Villese could have done here, but at the same time, all the credit has to go to Viper. I had no faith that he could bring this back. What in the world was that, dude? 817 kills, 622 deaths, a crazy performance from Viper. And of course, in terms of the whole series, this is devastating for Villese because he will know that maybe he should have won that one. He'll feel as though maybe there were some tweaks he could have done differently. He might consider that a throw. Some people are saying it's a throw. Maybe it is. I don't know. And also, this was Villese's early pick for his Civ draft as well. So he collected all this gold. And, well, pain. Someone says, you do not resign with 4k gold and 6k gold. Listen, Saru, I get it. He's at 170 pop. This isn't changing, all right? Settle down, my friend. Settle down. While we couldn't trust Villese to maybe spend the gold earlier, I think this is fine time to resign. Viper's got castles everywhere. He's completely spent. There's no way he stops this now. A great performance from the Viper. Villese maybe saving up for the late game. I don't know what this says about saving money, friends. Maybe you should just blow it all on Cavalier in early Imperial Age. Forget post-imp. Because who knows if the snake is going to come back and kill you anyways. No parallels to real life. All right, no parallels. But yeah, that game was nuts. That game was crazy. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if Villese can respond in the next one. Friends, we're catching up to live time. They're just speeding up. Actually, I think what it is they have a spec delay of like 2 minutes. And then they start their next game within 2 to 3 minutes. So it's like, boom, instant content. Viper pulled one back from the depths of hell in the previous game. Like, that was ridiculous. He's now gone for the Romans. So, you know, comeback win into Romans. It's got some interesting little unique flair to it. Romans, I think, have their strengths. And we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about the Magyars for Villese. One of the best civilizations for Lands Madness. And one of the civilizations that I feel is the hardest to stop, really. Like, there's so much potential for them because of the cheaper scouts and then the free attack upgrades. This map is normally a scout map. I could see that being very strong. The Romans, they have 5% more efficiency on their eco. So that is huge. And that is why I'm not calling anyone out here, okay? Not calling anyone out. If you feel offended, that's not me doing it. that is you calling yourself up internally, okay? Romans are really good for noobs because that 5% efficiency helps, as efficiency is hard to find when you're a newer player, all right? Again, if you were offended by that, you felt the emotion. It wasn't anything I said, all right? All right, I'm sorry. So they're really good. And, like, obviously, Viper's not a noob, so he could also maximize that efficiency. And it falls into the category of, if the Romans don't die early to the Magyars, I think their eco and everything they'll do from there will be stronger. Are some big weaknesses with the Romans potentially in the long run? I love the booing. It's been a bit since I've had emotes, right? For those that don't know, we have a boo emote, which is tomato. Because, you know, people are tossing tomatoes at me on stage right now. But yeah, I do think Romans are normally just like infantry and knights, though. So if they ever have to switch into range units, things could be awkward for them. We'll see what happens. It was a 9-villager start, so we are getting up to the next stage a bit faster. Something that I think is really important to note here about this version of Lance Madness is that this is like the original version of Lance Madness, so you cannot wall on the stone terrain. But if you watched a lot of Titans League, we tweaked ours where you also couldn't wall to the edge of the map. Here you can wall to the edge of the map, which means I could see a really realistic wall for Villese from the edge of the map to the houses here. Which means he could actually, like, even, I'm not sure if he could wall here, but he could conceivably wall that gold in eventually. Whereas Viper's gold, it's just so weird. It's like weird Tetris-y thinking. But, like, I guess he could kind of do the same, but then his wood's exposed, so he wouldn't do that? Like, I don't know. It's odd. But the potential's there. Speaking of potential, potential's a little bit lower for Villese now because he saw Viper's villagers started to attack, and Viper shot him with the TC there, so. Is this the same strat and Civ matchup we saw Doubt vs. Harry yesterday? I didn't watch Doubt vs. Harry yesterday, so you'd have to tell me. But I know that the GL players have really enjoyed the Romans. So I think, again, there's pros and cons to every draft. The previous game, Viper basically went for a bit of a risky pick with Bohemians against the Chinese, and he pulled one out of the hat, man. And that's so huge for him. And now here he's taking like kind of a lower pick risk, I would imagine. And then, you know, in theory, if a game 5 happens, it wouldn't surprise me. This is coming from me never seeing the draft yet. It wouldn't surprise me if Viper's pick makes a little bit more sense in the next game, if it happens. Magyars versus Armenian full longsword. Okay, well, that wasn't the same matchup then, right? I did hear about that game. Walls coming up from Viper. We'll be interested to see the res collected at some point. You could see Villese is already building up differently than what we saw in TTL, right? He knows he can wall, so he's thinking about that. And his scouts are out looking for kills, and oh my goodness. This has been just not so good. For a civilization that has no eco bonus whatsoever and has a scout bonus, it has looked painful for these poor scouts so far. They want to check res collected. We're 10 minutes into a 9-villager start game. Viper already creeping ahead a little bit. I know people are going to want to see longswords here. The only world where I think longswords would make sense would be if we see lots of spears in defense for Villese. We'll see if that happens. But again, the Romans 5% more efficient with everything. They've got strong cavalry, and they've got strong infantry. And they do get double infantry armor with the upgrade. So if you get one armor upgrade for infantry, it doubles. I don't think adding the infantry right now makes sense, though. Scouts v Scouts, obviously. HP losses for Villese is going to hurt him a little bit, right? Normally, he'd want to be taking the fight. Gets to the hill, wants to take the fight. Doesn't want to take the fight. They want to take the fight. They don't take the fight. Such nerds, dude. Just make a decision. And I'm kidding. Here comes the infantry. And the infantry armor is coming in as well. So, again, I'm not sure how needed that is here, but Viper making use of the bonus, and it's only 100 food. Valza pushed away from his mill. He's finished with his berries. Farm count's at 7. Viper's at 16. Oh my goodness, dude. The resources collected is not going to be good for Valza in comparison. I guess, guys, this is all because of the early archer decision. 100 wood for the mining camp, 175 wood for the archers. That's a lot of wood you don't invest into farms. That's the difference here. It's not a skill thing as much as the decision here. And archers obviously could have some level of payoff. And we'll see what the micro looks like here. Viper probably itching for a fight. But he's also at the opponent's base. So the level of patience he's showing is because the longer that he is here, the more suited his economy is for the long run. And by patience, I meant directly into the opponent's town center, of course. And Villese has played very well. And Villese will push this back. The archer addition pays off. Now, look at the difference on food, though. 18 versus 10. So it is a player preference thing. Villese is more of like the archer switch type of guy. I'm more of the spam farms type of guy. So I say that I prefer Viper's position because that could also be my preferences as a player. And this would be a perfect opportunity for someone to make fun of my farms. So I'm going to mention that. So when you make fun of my farms, you don't look creative at all. Just make it uncool to do that. That's the strat. Did Viper just... No, that tree's still good. Viper just one stable. But he's kept it producing. He still has these scouts from before. He's getting bloodlines as well. And he's going to take a very nice fight here. And we'll see if those archers can find the payoff. But Viper's eco is flying right now. And he has not struggled against the early pressure from the Magyars. And he's got the attack upgrade. He's just going to take the fight. And that is a lovely engagement for Viper, at least when it comes to the archers. And then the spears are in there as well for the scouts. He didn't lose that many scouts. He did lose a few. But we talked about the downsides of the archer switch. Because of those downsides, you really want those archers to work a little bit more, I would say. But we do see the market behind this for Villese. He is more protected than Viper is, and Viper takes some pretty bad fights. I don't know if that's Viper or if that's the improved pathing. You know what I would love? Can someone go back to every patch that's ever been released, go to the patch notes, get me the dates, and get me the sentence where it says the pathing has been improved? You get that together and maybe toss it somewhere in my Discord, because I will have Hardy have a field day with that. I don't know if I've lacked belief in anything like I do the 2 words improved pathing. It scares me when I hear it, you know? I'm like, oh no, they tried something else. I never really believe it. Oh, great job from Villese. The click up to Castle Age. Impressive. Res collected here. Viper's collected more, but he hasn't killed any eco. Viper could, though. Villese with some house walling. Here, though, Viper having some small issues because of the spears and the archers. Villese distracted. Just looked away when he was quick walling like a god, but I was showing you the other armies, so props to him for handling both things like a champ. Villagers are stuck, and he's got it. Not the most efficient gold ever, but inefficient gold miners is better than dead gold miners. That's what I say. What? Hold on. This is now the second time I've seen what looked like a clear hit not do damage. Okay, hold on. Excuse me? The first time he hit the farm... Okay, so he goes... Farm, misclick. What? That was very odd. That looked to me like he got 2 volleys, 2 hits in there. But, I don't know. People call me blind. Maybe he double-clicked it, so he canceled the first hit. But that was the second time I've seen it today. The first time it was with a spear, and spears are a little bit weird. That's not odd at all. There's a cooldown on attacks, bro. Well, thank you, Obese Unicorn, for the insights. All right, scouts, scouts moving around. I miss the usernames, man. Like someone will say something completely serious, and I just can't take them serious because of their username. Light cav on the way, armor on the way for the Viper, and we've got Bod Canero on the way for Villese. We had a resub from Bob Canero earlier, and I forget if Bob space Canero, last name Canero. I forget if Bob Canero existed and then Dave and I made a joke about Bod Canero, or if we made a joke about Bod Canero and it then led to someone creating the account Bob Canero. So I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but anyways. Not Bob Canero, but Bod Canero is on the way now for Villese as he's going to go Cav Archers. And I'm a big fan of Magyar Cav Archer switch, but that does take time. Viper has a couple archers here that he's going to have to worry about. He's going to clear out the spears. He should be okay here. Villese should just go for a Vil pick. And Viper is quick gating and quick walling like a nerd. Dude. Oh, goes down. Well, that's their first villager kill of the game, folks. Pretty crazy. These players have had to work pretty hard to get to this state. Oh, yeah, it was Facebook captions. That's what it was. We were saying Bod Canero, and the Facebook closed captions were making it a name, Bob Canero. That's what it was. Forgot about that. Thank you for the context. The closed captions were pretty sick there. Anyways. We got quick walling again from Villese. Just stressing me out looking at this. Ugh. So much work to do. And that there is a difference between this... You know, the massing of the archers and the archer micro and just spamming cav and spamming eco. Life is so much easier when you're just a stable and eco spammer. And Viper gets through. And Viper's going to kill a couple villagers. And also this leads to a lot of idle time. And this is not what Villese needed. He's already behind. It didn't look massively behind in the stats, but the efficiency of the economy, he was struggling. He needs revenge now, and he's going to find a little bit of it. Viper can't fit all those villagers inside the tower. Nice job from Villese. Goes underneath the tower. Smart play. Eco KD, 4-4 now. And Viper's got villagers on gold that are exposed. What a sick job to continue to move forward, to find damage when all that craziness was happening at your base. Beautiful micro there as well to get the villager on the front, knowing you'd get the next villager anyways. I'm not sure the pikeman upgrade, like... The tricky thing about pikemen is it's still slow, and then it costs food and all that stuff. I guess maybe pikeman defense and cav archers forward was the thought process. Not sure if I've seen pikemen pay off yet. Res collected. Whoa! Romans! 2k more resources collected. Velez has killed more villagers from Viper. But Viper could just spam more army. 4 TC now for him. And this is just going to be TC number 2 here for Villese. Viper happy to use these fully armored knights to push these things back. And finding some chip damage as he goes through. Light Cav looking for value. Tree's going to be overchopped. Nope. It will be. And I wonder if Viper saw the tree. I give Viper a lot of credit. I don't think he checked that tree. But we'll see. Maybe he'll sit here and then loop back in here in a moment. Would feel very natural maybe to sit there. He's certainly looking for more eco. He's probably thinking, where is this guy? Where is he going? I think Scorpions would have made sense for Viper before, and Scorpions certainly make sense now. And another thing I didn't mention about the Romans is their Scorpions are cheaper. So, as the monastery... Is it worth it? No, monastery's denied it 78%. Scorpion comes out. And Tower will help. And Cav is here to raid. And Cav is here to raid. And still Villese just has to hope that these Cav archers do it for him. But everywhere he goes, he runs into a tower, a Scorpion, a town center. And everywhere he looks at home, he's got groups of knights looking to come in. He didn't react to this. Maybe he noticed it. We'll see. He does have pikes around. I think the knights can kill the pikemen, though, which makes me think he didn't notice it. And he does pull away with the Vills. And it's just too much. There's too much happening. And Viper's just spamming out of all of his TCs so wonderfully. And there's going to be a moment here, if Villese doesn't resign, where Viper will just kill all the Cav Archers with the Scorpions as well. Maybe it's not this game, though, that Villese regrets. Maybe it's the previous game. You know when you're up against Viper, you're going to lose games. So you can't get too down on yourself for that, but it's the ones that you have 7k gold on that you might live to regret. It's just group stage. So Villese has had good performance thus far. I will explain a bit more how the tournament works when we get a chance in between sets. But basically, this is the second round for both players, I believe, and they both won their first rounds. Basically, it's Swiss stage. The way it works is when you get to 3 wins in the group stage, you move on. If you get 3 set losses in the group stage, you're out. So this would be if Viper finishes this off, as he's now getting ballistics, which also affects the Scorpions with the Romans. The more I think about it, the Romans are actually a really solid matchup against Magyars. Like, solid, beefy pikemen, Scorpions, good eco. I don't know. Like, you could have a 20 villager lead with whatever civ you consider the worst in the game right now, and you'd still probably look good. But it has looked good. Are Scorpions really that good? They're amazing against Cav Archers, and against Cav Archers and pikemen, it's incredible, yeah. Yeah, maybe one of the things to combine with Knights and whatever else, and GG. Well played. Viper wins 3-1. What a fun series, guys. That was a great series to cast. The level was extremely high the whole way through. Again, for Villese, I think the disappointment will come back to that Gold Rush game. But Viper looked good. Villese looked good. Viper wins. Many would have expected him to win here. He wins with a little bit of style, maybe, with the new civilization, the Romans. But when the Romans came out, there were a lot of players who were saying they really felt like they were strong because of that 5% bonus, the efficiency bonus. And I think that was the main thing we got to see Viper utilize here. He just didn't take damage from the scouts, and then behind it, his eco was flying the whole way through. It's really strong bonus, which kind of makes up for what could be seen as an awkward tech tree or something. So, fun cast. Hope people enjoyed the cast. This will hit extras later on. So maybe, my chat here could salute the extras channel, give YouTube a little bit of love for later on. But as far as my coverage of Warlords, I will not be covering a ton of it, but I will be covering the next series. We'll have some days where I cast it. Unfortunately, I think I'm away the last 2 weekends of it. So cast it where I can. And we're going to move on to another series here next. So extras channel, you can keep an eye on it for later. I think the Gold Rush game is worthy of main channel for sure, though. So I guess this would still mean extras people are seeing this later on. But cool stuff. All right.